Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month, teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching, as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out.
Conversations matter. If there was ever a time where we're in a position to really understand the value of conversations, it's now. Now, I thought about doing this podcast, and I thought about not doing this podcast because I don't want to come off that like that person who's jumping on, really tough times and getting on their soapbox or leveraging the time for personal gain. That is not my objective. So when I think about coaching during these times and having conversations, I look at it often from a before and after effect. Think about the manager who's been conversing, who's been bringing people into the office, celebrating people's strengths, acknowledging their improvement. Now think about the manager who simply says, which we get all the time in our business, I don't have time to coach. Our industry is different. We're really, really busy. Well, because of these unprecedented times, what do we have to do? We have to sit down with our people. We have to have conversations. We have to direct them. We have to lead them. We have to listen to them. Think about that for a second. Think if you were the first manager who was having conversations, conversing, celebrating people's strengths, and certainly challenging them to improve. Wouldn't you be ahead of the second manager who said, I didn't have time? Often when I speak in front of HR or training leaders or chief learning officers, I get the question all the time. And their question is our objection when we're trying to secure services. What do you say when they say they don't have time? And I've always made this joke for the last 20 years. Who does the end of the year review? Who does rehiring when people leave? You can't say it's you because you don't have time. Time to spend with your employees through conversation and conversing is a choice. We do have the time. Conditions, unprecedented circumstances should not cause us to have to spend time. When I think about companies who do this very well, I think about a company like Titus Talent Strategy. They're a recruiting firm that does some really unique things, but one of the most amazing things, and I just shared a text with one of their principals, Scott, is years ago, I kept telling him I was amazed by their culture. And he said, why? I said, well, just the way you interact, people can be themselves. You guys celebrate individuality like I've really never seen before. And they're a remote company. Most of their people work out of their home offices, and they do an amazing job. You know what they're doing now? They're actually teaching the rest of the business community their own internal best practices. And all of those conversations, all of the things that they've done with their people are paying dividends right now. See, when we don't have time, then we have to spend time. That's a recipe for dysfunctional relationships. I'll give you another example. Years ago, we were working for a recreational boating manufacturer. I'm walking around the building, and I said to my direct client, I said, geez, Tom, this place is like a morgue. It's so quiet. I've never seen it like this. He goes, oh, our PMPs are due at 11. I said, what are PMPs? He said, oh, performance management plans. It's basically our end of the year review. I said, oh, I'd like to see one of those. And one of the areas that they were evaluated on was entrepreneurship. Did they demonstrate entrepreneurial mentality or tendencies or activities? And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. But I noticed something. I asked a bunch of people. I observed it. I had been at this client site for 5 years. I knew it. There wasn't a manager in that building that was coaching or having conversations about entrepreneurial ability. So guess what happened when people got evaluated on it? And it happens everywhere. When we're evaluated by things that people don't bring up or converse with us about, it becomes a weapon against management. And everybody in that building's reaction was, how can you evaluate me on this? No one's brought this up to me. I don't know how to be entrepreneurial, but I'm being evaluated on it. And so today, in these unprecedented times, people are probably now saying, I am so thankful for Jonathan, our leader, in everything he does for our company. That's the CEO of Titus. I am so thankful for Jim Bathy, the Vice President of Marketing at the Milwaukee Brewers. Both of these guys are relentless communicators, constantly showing their people that they care. But I guarantee you there's people out there right now thinking, oh, now my boss wants me to do XYZ because we're in unprecedented times. Conversations matter. Here's why. I want you to take a test. And I'm going to let you know I failed this test. Let me go first. I fail it. I'm getting better, but I fail it. How often when we're talking to people are we thinking about what we want to say or how we're going to rebuttal? Think about two people in a political conversation on opposite ends of the spectrum. Do they really listen to each other? So I want to share something with you. I was at a restaurant in my community and I sat down with an owner, said, how are you doing? And he immediately went into a story and told me he's got headaches, just had a new baby, and he was really struggling. I could tell he was struggling to get through the conversation. And for anyone who knows me, I'm high pace, high energy, I go fast. And I kept saying to myself, just shut up and let this guy go. So after about 6-7 minutes, I looked at him and I said, do you mind if I share something with you? And he said, sure. I said, you came back here and resurrected your mom and dad's restaurant. And people are thankful you did. I said, write that down and just put that in front of you. And he looked at me and goes, I am so happy we had this conversation. Thank you. I got in my car and I thought to myself, wasn't much of a conversation. That was a lot of listening. And I need to get better at that. And so here's the cool thing, everybody. Conversations matter. They're powerful. We have conversation efficiency, and some of us have conversation deficiencies. And that's okay. But there is never a better time to sit down and have what I call a listening chat. So as that restaurant owner started going on and on about how he was feeling, I knew he needed to get it off his chest. Can you imagine if I interrupted him and said, yeah, but you'll get through it. I got to go. Conversations matter. So think about our kids in college being at home. I've got 2 at home right now. And we talk to them constantly about where their mom and dad are at, where our business is at, and why we're going to get through this. But more importantly, we got to go help other people. Conversations matter. I think about everything that we're going through. You have to ask yourself, have you been having the conversations? And if you haven't, start now. Let people know, you know what? I should have been talking to you guys more. I should have been praising you more. That's on me. But if you've had conversations and you've had coaching going, guess what? You're in a really great position to help your people get through this. So I have to share this with all of you. I was on a call last night with a client in El Paso, GEC Credit Union, one of the most amazing places I've ever been to. And I always make a joke at my best practices when I'm coaching. You got to hug each other. You got to hug each other. And I got up and I paired people up. We had about 60 people in the room. And as I was pairing people up, I was ready to crack the joke. And all of a sudden I look up and they're all hugging each other. And I looked around and it kind of hit me really hard. And I actually made a point of mentioning it. I said, normally I make a joke. Hey, make sure you hug your partner. And all of a sudden I didn't get it. And a woman came up to me and I'll never forget this. She goes, do you know why we do that? I said, no. She said, El Paso's strong because of the shootings. We're lucky to work at a place like this. And here was the amazing thing. I was on a call with them last night. and they were just picking my brain. I was picking their brain, and we're helping each other out. You know what their focus was? Their members and their internal employees. And you could feel the energy come through. It is all about people for this organization. That's an organization that will come out in the back end of this successfully. Now, success might look different, but here's an amazing group of people that were already having conversations before this hit. Sadly, in their case, it's the second big thing that's hit them in recent years. But the way they cooperate with each other is awesome. So here's a really cool thing. I sent a note to the CEO praising their people. I got a note back within an hour. Can't you imagine how busy she is right now? Conversations matter. Take some time and converse, and good things will happen. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.